Good morning. Hey, what's going on? It's not working properly. Wow, I don't know what's up. It says I'm live, but it doesn't. Yeah. Does Google change something? Um, let's see. No. Um, no, it's all. I don't know. Well, good morning. This is John Harder, and my title this morning is New Local Communities of Abundance Powered by TBC. I'm not sure what's up. I can't seem to. Huh? And then what? I did that. Now what? Settings? That's all. Okay, that's all there is to. Okay, it says Hangout can't use the selected camera. I know. It says that it can't use it for some reason. There was a bunch of updates yesterday on the computer, and I'm wondering if that's the problem. We're talking about the camera here, so it's the Logitech Pro webcam. That help? That's microphone. Webcam is up here. Yeah. Oh, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one that is on. It's not working. What about this one? That's not helping either. Well, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, why it's not working. Settings. Default. That's the voice. This is camera. See, here it says that Hangout can't use the camera. Without a working camera, the other participants won't be able to see you. This is the one that's usually a good camera, but I'm wondering if the updates yesterday, if the Logitech isn't up to date with that. I might still hear you. Click onto something on the menu. Same thing happened to me last week. Click onto something on the menu. Okay. Can you hear me? Would you please type if you can hear me? Okay, apparently they can't hear me either. I couldn't hear. I was on Lucy Brown's this morning and I couldn't hear her either. My computer. Okay, they can hear me. They can hear me. They can't see me. Well, I apologize for that. I don't know what happened. I guess I'll have to do this one as an audio. So maybe the screen share will still work. I don't know. But so I'll just do it as an audio then, whatever, and see if I can get that working afterwards. But you know, talking about the title, a new local communities of abundance powered by TBC. What I wanted to talk about around that subject was, you know, as we have been working lately, focusing in on cash flow, as you know, as Randy has quite clearly demonstrated, and focusing in on the cash flow. And I have received very many emails, and if you have been doing leads and helping people with migration, then you likely have come across the same thing where you get a bunch of emails from people such as, how can I cash out? How can I use the TBC that I have, and things like that. So it sounds like there is kind of you know, people are kind of desperate about, you know, to get their hands on using up the TBC that they have. And huh? Yeah, okay. So we have we are focusing in on that to help people. And of course, this is kind of why we have been creating the tools and the things that we've been working on. Screen share, I'm going to go to the blog. Oh, I likely have it open already. Yeah, here. So can they see the screen? Okay. All right. So as Randy has been also been talking about focusing in on that, and the emails that I've been receiving, very many of them was, you know, people asking, well, how can I get my, you know, basically, how can I get my hands on the TBC that I have so that I can spend it? And if we understand TBC, if we understand what TBC was built for and what it's meant to do, we wouldn't be asking those kind of questions. Now, there isn't really anything wrong with wanting to use TBC, or, you know, especially when we realize how how easy it is with TBC to make headways, considering the cookie rewards program that we have in TBC. But what I noticed is quite a bit, like, people, they'd have basically the Kringles that had been given to them, and now they have migrated, and now they want to use that up. And I mean, I can understand why they are thinking that, but that is not abundance thinking. That is kind of like the idea where you know, you've bought a lottery ticket, and so now you won a little bit with that lottery ticket. Now you just you want access to you know, to that and spend it. But what they don't seem to tune in on is that what they have is growing. It's growing to be a lot more. And instead of using that up, why not go the other way and create it into a cash flow, and then live a life of abundance, like literally live your dreams that you want to, you know, the lifestyle that you would have always liked to live. Well, now at TBC, you can easily get there, and not only with the idea of having TBC and waiting, uh, you know, months or maybe even a couple of years or whatever for it to accumulate, but rather um, it's usable right now. It's you can amply already use it and cash in, because the fact is TBC is going to lift humanity out of poverty. And having that uh, having that zeal, I'm going to just go um, cash flow again here. And having that zeal, we know that there is very, very much going on, or to do, I should say, with spreading TBC. We have over 3 million, but that's not even one large city. And we have the world to cover. So how many people, you know, how many hundreds of millions of people do we still need to share TBC with? And this is what what I've been working on to help people understand, you know, people who want to cash out, that there really isn't a way of just using your coin that you have, other than that you go out and find people who are willing to trade, you know, with the vehicle you want, or whatever it is that you want to buy, that you can trade with people who are willing to trade. For some reason, people tend to see TBC as one of those online programs where you cash out. I think that is basically the idea that I understand, or that I get from what I understand what people want, is that they think that it's a program where you can cash out. You know, you're looking for a cash out button. Well, that's a complete misunderstanding of what TBC is. Now, the title, I forget right now what the title exactly was, but that of local economy of abundance, powered by TBC, and well, that is what we're working on. That is what, you know, what we're ultimately building is economies, literally changing the way life works, changing the way life operates, as far as in local communities, freeing up much time for people everywhere. So as opposed to being enslaved to a debt-based system, they will now have the liberty to live life on their terms, basically. So as to be able to choose an education that they want, not education, occupation, I meant. Education too, maybe, for that matter. But choose their occupation, and then go with that, and do what you love doing. What we find so much in today's economy is people are scared of losing their job. They are, they hang on for dear life to a job that they hate, and simply for the reason because of not knowing where else to turn. And well, that's really not an abundant way to live. And yet at the same time, with TBC, we can already create cash flow in abundant ways. I want to actually go to the home page for a little bit first, because there's now. I think I touched on this a little bit, but it is so important that people get their migration done. And so these here steps, yesterday I went over them in detail, which some I sent to later because people asked for help. And of course, it is now easier. It's the latest updates have, being it's automated, it's now much quicker to do. But it's been, to me, it's been a real pleasure to help people in excuse me, with their migration and so on. And now we're trying to get the next phase moving to help people understand how they can create cash flow. This is so important, and to change the general thought process, seemingly, of people is it takes a bit of time. It's kind of like when I was in internet marketing, and I would see an opportunity, and sometimes I had seen it a number of times and hadn't really paid attention to it until all of a sudden I would either get an email or see a video or something where people were displaying their results from what had been going on, or what that they had been using the system, and through that I realized, oh, that's actually seems to be a pretty good opportunity, whereas I had kind of just brushed it off as another one of those that didn't work. Of course, that's another subject on its own. It is, it really is usually not, or mostly at least, not in the program what we are involved in. That's not where our success or failure is determined. I think if we understand where the success or failure happens, that is really the key point. If we can get people to understand that, that is really where mountains are moved, is when we understand where where success or failure takes place. I know that that we have basically been taught to think that it's the program, or it's somebody's training. It's well, okay, mind you, training will have very much to do with that, but really it's our own understanding, and of course training has extremely much to do with that. And but here's the thing, even when we pay for training, or we look back on a attempts that we had that failed, or should we say didn't fail necessarily, but we look at them as failures, um, that's where we're creating our own problem. You see, I used to do this a lot, and that was because of my misunderstanding. When a program hadn't worked out, and here I had already put hundreds of dollars and sometimes thousands of dollars into it, and I ended up abandoning it because it just wasn't working. Well, little did I realize that it had nothing to do with the program that wasn't working. It was my misunderstanding of where success happens. That's what wasn't working. And this is where we can help people the most. If we can find ways to help people open up their mind enough to realize that they need to change their thinking. They need to focus on the success that they want, and recognize it as something that is inside of them and not outside. As long as we look outside in programs and other people, it can be a training. Um, let me put it this way: if a person goes to a training session, maybe, and you let's say somebody laid out exact steps for you, and you have confidence now that by following those exact steps, you will, at least have some level of success. Well, even in your misunderstanding, you will have some success because that is what you believe. I'm wondering right now if you understand what I mean. Because understanding what I'm really talking about here will make a huge difference in your future success. And let me just try to clarify it a little bit more. If you go to a trainer, and that trainer gives you an exact steps system to follow, and if you believe that by following those exact steps you will have a measure of success, then so it will be. And that is because that is what you believe. However, your success is limited to only that of the belief in those steps outside of you. Now, if you can turn that around and realize that the success is actually not in those steps, it is in the belief that you have. Now, that is where you can really upscale your success. Not only in material things, although material things is what it's all about. I know that those of us who have been churchgoers for many years, we have the idea that no, it's not, has nothing to do with these earthly things. It has all to do with spiritual things and heavenly things and so on. But let's remember, all is one and one is all. All of these physical things, they are spiritual things. Spirit is physical. Physics is spiritual. Matter is the lowest degree of spirit. Spirit is the highest degree of matter. All comes from the spirit. All physical things come from the spirit. Now, when we begin to sort of tune into that, and here's how we can do that. We need to understand or open up our mind to the idea that everything is vibrations. Everything that exists, whether physical, whether emotional, whether it's you know, visible or invisible, whether it's matter, material, every, you know, whether it's texture, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. These are, all of them are different frequencies of vibration. And so is ceramic, so is plastic. And so when we understand that, or we could almost say that it's very, very difficult to understand that, but we can believe it. That helps us understand a little bit better that the spirit creates all things through vibratory frequencies. Now, having a little bit of an understanding of vibratory frequencies, here is what matters. Here's how it happens for you and for me. The frequency that we tune into, because that's exactly what we do. The way you feel, the things that you believe, and the way you feel about those things that you believe is how you tune in to the vibratory fields of whatever that is. Now, let's just simply take that as a success, as to create local economies of abundance, a complete world of local economies of abundance. Well, that's what we need to tune into then. If that's what we want, then we tune into that. And we talk about it. We create the feelings of feeling that we already have, that we are accomplishing it, and that we are already doing this everywhere, which, by the way, we actually are. If we, even if it doesn't exist in physical form anywhere yet, we already are doing this. Because as soon as we are tuning in to the ideas that we have, that this is, that we make it, how should I say, we start embodying it by our belief system that we are doing, you know, that we are working on this, on the spiritual plane, it's beginning to happen. How should I say, synchronicities are beginning to happen. Other people are beginning to tune into this concept. And now, where we can so easily mess up is when we tune into it really nicely one day, and then the next day we change our mind and we start talking about something else, and we start doing something else, and we get out of tune with what we had. Now, that's kind of like planting a tree one day, and the next day the seed might be nicely just starting to sprout, but now I'm digging it up and I'm planting something else there. And that is, there's no success to ever be accomplished in that way. Now, if we can consider the fact that what we want, the cash flow that we want to create, that we plant this seed, we tune into the vibratory frequencies, that this is what I desire to accomplish and help others accomplish, right? Well, then we can, if we remain in tune with that, then the tree will begin to grow. It will sprout and it will begin to grow. And as it does, then start seeing the abundance, even before it does. Before it does, even build the image of that abundance. and your mind, and keep holding to that image in your mind. And as we do, the spirit, the invisible part, the vibratory frequencies, they will they float across the entire globe, and other people will tune in to those frequencies. It's like a radio station, that all of a sudden there's this radio station that has music that people just really love. Well, first of all, people talk, people talk, and it spreads by word, but also people that are on their radio and are, trying to find music that they like, all of a sudden, whoop, boom, they all of a sudden tune in to that station. And that's music. It's just right. They just love it, right? Same thing. Same thing. These are all frequencies of vibration that are floating in the air constantly. And our thought waves, they are live. They are live frequencies. So that's what makes it very important, how we think and what we think about. How do we feel about what we're involved in? Are we feeling that we are really helping humanity, and that we are, attracting the right people who want what we have to sell? Okay, so anyway, I chatted off with the the frequencies of vibration, and how that works, that we truly create success in our lives, and not just our own but also in others, and how we attract people. That's wonderful. Those are great things. But nonetheless, we always work with materials, always with things, with physical things, because that's how everything becomes physical, that we need all the things that we need. And so here, again, our migration is just about over. So in this video, I wanted to again touch on this, is because so that those of you who are still on the old wallet, please do your sorry, do your migration right away. Do your migration right away. And then of course, let's if you it really doesn't matter how you think currently when it comes to making money with TBC. But I would very highly recommend that you tune in to creating cash flow for yourself, and also help others, because that will help spread TBC very quickly to very many people. And unless we are accomplishing this, unless we really go for it and accomplish these things, TBC will drag out a very long time, before it will ever reach its goal. And that is not what we want. We want to really focus and make this happen quickly. Okay, so this here is a blog post. I highly recommend that if you want to create a cash flow for yourself, and also help others to do the same, I highly recommend that you go over this blog, go over it several times, read it and study it, and understand what admin is telling us here, and then of course act on it, because we can do all the understanding and we can do all that, but if we're not willing to act, then it really doesn't help us much to know. Now, I want to mention one more thing here in regards to all this, and that is that I think too often people aren't sure they're not sure what they should do. They you know, they are trying to figure things out, and yes, you wanna make money, but you don't really tune in uh, to the fact that you, or how should I say, you don't really tune into a belief system that this really is possible, and not only possible, but that it is actually easy. You see, everything happens according to your belief. If you believe that it's hard, you believe it's very difficult, you believe that you're not going to find the right people, you believe that people are going to be difficult to deal with, you believe all of those difficult circumstances, then just know right now already that those are exactly the circumstances you are building for yourself. That's the kind of future you're building. So do yourself a favor. Create a belief system within yourself. And if you're having a hard time at first, then tell yourself it's getting that way. Just keep telling yourself it is getting easier. It is getting much easier. You know, I'm beginning to attract the right people. And I'm just noticing this everywhere. People are beginning to be so easy to work with. And it's and people are willing to pay. They're so happy to you know, and they easily see, you know, what we're doing here. They so easily understand it, and it's so fun to work with them. You know, we start creating those kind of vibratory fields, and the next thing you know, you'll be enjoying it so much, and you'll be helping so many people. Okay, so that is basically the part that you have to do within yourself. Now, the information as far as career and all of that stuff, you can find all of that in admin and on the blog here. There's plenty of information of what to do, how to do things, and all that. But to work on yourself, to get your belief system, to get you the, so you can tune in onto the success that you want, that you have to do in yourself. You have to realize that no one outside of you anywhere is responsible for your success and for the way you think, for the way you, for what you achieve in your life. Okay. All right. So with that said, I want to encourage those of you who are watching this video and are not yet in TBC, that you have a wonderful opportunity to create cash flow in TBC. In less than a week's time, you can have a cash flow going. Okay, just by following the simple steps, and you can find those steps in johnharder.com. Okay, so with that said, I am going to get back out of this screen share, and then I want to find out if I can get Google to cooperate with my computer again for my next Hangout, so that next time it can again work more normal. All right, so the video would be here. Let's go here and stop the screen share. Okay, so let's see in here. Okay. Serene, thank you very much for joining my Hangout this morning, my live broadcast. Marjorie, thank you for moderating for me. And let's see, thank you very much for the help, Serene. You know, the suggestions and stuff. I appreciate it very much. Dr. Joe Stevens, thank you for joining me as well. And sorry, who? Nigeria. Oh, okay. Ademola, thank you very much as well for tuning in to my channel here. Appreciate it very much. And then there's Chona. Thank you very much as well. I hope I'm pronouncing your names correctly. And Diana Gordon, thank you very much for joining me as well this morning. And I guess that's, pardon? Yeah, I guess that's all of them for today. So I'll see if I can get my channel working properly, so I can get it next time. All right, thank you very much. And peace.